Prison break stories has always been a subject of fascination in movies and books. Most of us watch jailbreak scenes in movies in amaze where the hero tricks the guard and escapes the confinement of the jail. In this video, we will look at some creative ways cons used to escape Indian prison. Here are the 5 craziest prison escapes in India. Number 5. Shair Singh Rana. Shair Singh Rana happens to be an infamous assassin who in 2001 gunned down Indian dacoit turned parliamentarian Phulan Devi. Bandit Queen, the Bollywood movie, was based on her life. He was locked up in Tihar jail where Rana and his brother planned out an escape with the help of an associate, Sandeep Thakur. Thakur visited Rana 4 times during his time at Tihar, posing as advocate Pradeep Kumar 3 times and once as a friend. But the breakout happened when Thakur visited Rana again, this time as a police official who was assigned to take Rana to court. On January 2004, wearing the police uniform, Sandeep reached jail around 7 am, an hour before the actual police team's arrival. He filled out the form, submitted a fake warrant, handcuffed Rana, and even collected the diet allowance of Rs 40 before leading the prisoners out. Yes, that's what really happened. They pretty much walked out of Tihar jail with money from the cops. That's the level of vigilance in India's so-called highly secure jail. Rana then fled to Kolkata, where he used a fake passport under the name of Sanjay Gupta and started living in Bangladesh. He used to visit Kolkata often to get his visa extended. He later visited Dubai and then on to Afghanistan in search of a grave of 12th century ruler Prithviraj Chauhan. Finally, Rana's remarkable adventure were interrupted by Delhi Police Special Cell Force in 2006, which tracked him down in Kolkata. He was convicted of Phulan Devi's murder and sentenced to life imprisonment in 2014. Number 4. Jaktar Singh Hawara. Hawara was a member of Babar Khalsa and an ardent activist of Khalistan movement. He was also suspected to be one of the key schemers behind the assassination of Beyan Singh, Chief Minister of Punjab, on August 31, 1995. Hawara's attempt at breaking out of prison is a classic example of persistence pays. His first 3 attempts at digging tunnel went in vain. The first was when he dug a 35-foot tunnel under the kitchen barracks of the jail, but that didn't work out. The next 2 attempts were made from the jail's Gurudwara barracks, where his first tunnel caved in, while the second tunnel he never got to use because he was moved to a different barrack. But the 4th times is always a charm. Hawara, along with 3 other prisoners, dug a 8-foot deep and 108-foot long tunnel which crossed 2 security walls and opened at 20 meters from the outer perimeter wall and 10 meters from the nearest watchtower. They were provided with TV, curtains, mobile phones and even weightlifting equipments in the jail, which they used to dig the tunnel. The accused used to keep water tap running around the clock and volume of television high even during nights to not let the sound of digging work go out. The power supply to the jail was disrupted by one of the associates twice on the night the accused fled the jail. As you have probably guessed by now, in the morning of January 21, 2004, they crawled through the tunnel to freedom and vanished into the wilderness to be never found again. He was recaptured in 2005 from Delhi and now serving life imprisonment at Tihar Jail, New Delhi. The 8 prisoners of Baitia Jail. Back in August 2002, Baitia Jail in West Champaran, Bihar, was the center of news stories for an epic Bihari gangster-style breakout that you would have expected to be in the plots of gangs of Wasepur. 8 prisoners who were arrested for everything from murder, robbery and rape used the prison guards' laziness, not their so cunning intelligence, to break free. They applied grease on the iron rod of their ward for cutting them with a saw so that the cutting sound may not reach to the guards. They created a 1-foot gap and 9 prisoners crawled out from the opening around 3 am in the morning. The watchtower had been left unmanned at the time. After coming out of the ward, they all scaled the 8 feet high inner wall and 8 of them then scaled the 14 feet high main wall by making a human ladder and with the help of a cloth rope made from dhoti, towel and shawl. The last athletic genius among them, Mohan Shah, failed the obstacle course and couldn't scale the wall, for which he was captured by the authorities later that day. Number 2. Charles Sobraj. What possible list of epic jailbreaks could ever be complete without the genius conman Charles Sobraj? He is best known as the Bikini Killer due to the attire of his victims and was pretty much the poster boy for criminals. Sobraj allegedly committed at least a dozen murders and was convicted and jailed in India From 1976 to 1997, Charles Sobraj happened to be Thailand national at the time, not Indian. Thing is, Indian law states that before extraditing a criminal of foreign citizenship, the convict has to serve his term in India. This is where the breakout story takes an epic turn. Sobraj was sentenced to 18 years in Tihar, and after completing his sentence in India, he would be extradited to Thailand, where he would definitely be executed. Now, Thai laws state that any criminal who has not been tried in court within 20 years of being charged would have all charges dropped, which meant that Sobraj would just have to dodge being sent to Thailand for another 2 years after serving his sentence in Tihar. His plan was break out of prison and get caught again for it. Shortly after, on March 17, 1986, a white car drove to Tihar's main jail in which Sobraj's associate David Hall was seated. He was a young Englishman who had been imprisoned for heroin smuggling and was now out on bail. Hall handed the two guards at the gate 100 rupees each and a gift of fruit and sweet laced with a sleeping drug, telling them he was there to see his friend Charles Sobraj. It is Charles Sahib's birthday, he told them. He took another offering of sweet to Assistant Superintendent's office, where Sobraj was sitting on a desk. Once the greedy guard had their share of sweet nectar, they all fell unconscious. Sobraj escaped from Tihar in a Hall's car, using one of the drug warden as a decoy by dangling his arm outside the passenger side window. The guard, seeing the warden, waved the car through the gate unchallenged, unknowing to what had happened inside the prison. 2 weeks later, Sobraj got himself caught in a bar in Goa and got sentenced for another 2 years in prison. What a success! He escaped being executed in Thailand. Number 1. Natwarlal. The infamous conman, who is considered India's best, was known for his charm and his repeated sale of monuments like Taj Mahal, Red Fort, and even Parliament of India to unsuspecting rich folks. Well, Parliament has always been sold to rich corporates in India. Born in Siwan district of Bihar in 1912, Mithilesh Kumar Srivastava, aka Natwarlal, was a lawyer by profession. Panning over a glorious career, Natwarlal was convicted for 14 cases of forgery and was sentenced for 113 years. But he hardly spent 20 years in prison. Natwarlal was a man of perseverance and dedication, coupled with the obvious conman genius. Natwarlal was arrested 9 times, but every time he was able to break out of jail and escape. Last time he was arrested was in 1996 and was imprisoned in Kanpur jail. He was 84 years old at the time and was too old, frail to crawl through a hole or even try to break out the prison in the regular way. So he faked his sickness and convinced authorities to get him medical attention, who happily obliged looking at his age. Authorities decided to take him to AIIMS hospital in Delhi for treatment of the sick old man. Hilariously enough, the two constables escorted him at New Delhi railway station and handed over his responsibility to a sweeper for a few seconds while they went out for a pan, guessing what the old man could possibly do. Natwarlal took this opportunity to tell the sweeper to fetch him some tea while he waited. Not a moment passed before he was left alone. The great Natwarlal disappeared into the crowd, after which he was never seen again.